This video that's been leaked that is on Reddit showed that Blake Lively was laughing and having a good time, and no one could really see that there's anything off here.
Could things be getting more serious for Blake Lively? New footage shared in a controversial Reddit post is going viral and raising significant questions. This isn't just another red carpet blunder, it could potentially dismantle her victim narrative entirely. The evidence contradicts her portrayal of Justin Baldoni as a ruthless bully and sexual harasser, while she presents herself as a helpless victim.
It certainly doesn't support her narrative that he was this evil, brutal, bully, sexual harasser, and poor little meek, powerless Blake just had to deal with his aggressive advances. That's just so obviously a lie.
If you're watching this video, you're likely already aware of the ongoing saga between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, including their legal battles. Lawsuits have been filed, accusations exchanged, and the public conflict is intensifying. But now, let's delve into the new evidence that could completely shift the narrative. Blake Lively made this a public legal issue when she published a critical article about Justin Baldoni in the New York Times.
It kind of passed. It was over. But like a lot of thin-skinned Hollywood types, she couldn't stand the fact that it was still lingering in any way out there.
Since then, private messages from both parties have been revealed, exposing the intricacies of their relationship. It seemed like the situation might settle down, but like many sensitive Hollywood figures, Blake couldn't let it go. What remains unseen by the public could be the final nail in her coffin. We're talking about leaked footage that reveals a very different dynamic between Blake and Justin than what she claims in court. On May 17th, 2023, Blake and Justin were filmed on the set of It Ends With Us. The footage shows them embracing, smiling, and engaging in what appears to be a relaxed conversation. This isn't a formal greeting, it's a hug that suggests a lack of animosity. Now, consider the reported 30 demands made by Blake's team during filming, which focused heavily on establishing strict intimacy boundaries on set.
This intimacy coordinator says, quote, "From reading their text messages, I do sense that at one point there was genuine affection between them and what felt like a friendship. In my experience, when an actor says, I don't need to meet the intimacy coordinator until we're shooting, as much as it hinders my process, it does typically indicate that they trust their scene partner."
She certainly doesn't appear to be a damsel in distress trapped in an uncomfortable work environment. An intimacy coordinator noted that, based on their text exchanges, there seemed to be genuine affection and a sense of friendship between them. Typically, when an actor expresses a desire to skip meeting the intimacy coordinator, it indicates trust in their scene partner. If this footage is presented in court, Justin's legal team will likely argue that it undermines Blake's credibility.
And actually, your husband Ryan Reynolds wrote part of that rooftop scene. Is that true?
Yeah, that's. I mean, I would have to compare it to the original one, but that's 99% his. Yeah, he.
They'll point to the hug, the smiles, and the apparent comfort, questioning whether this looks like a victim of harassment or a hostile work environment. We don't yet have Blake's explanation for this hug, nor do we know what she'll say in court, but the circulating footage is already influencing public perception, raising doubts and potentially dismantling her victim narrative.
Details about meetings like the one they had with Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and apparently, though the name is blacked out, there's an assumption, well-founded, that it's Taylor Swift, her BFF, at the Reynolds penthouse in Manhattan, where Ryan Reynolds allegedly bullied Justin so badly that a Sony representative who was there, the production team behind the movie, and her biggest takeaway was, I am very sorry that I let him get away with doing that to Justin. It was so nasty.
And there's more. Remember the drama surrounding that infamous rooftop scene during filming? For those unaware, Ryan Reynolds, Blake's husband,
this isn't a film about domestic violence. It's a film that covers a lot of things, from first love to being an entrepreneur and opening your first shop and having all your dreams come true, to falling in love, to finding a new best friend, to domestic violence, which you don't hear all of those things in one place.
reportedly rewrote parts of that scene without consulting the producers or cast. Justin later claimed he was bullied into accepting these changes by Blake's close friends, including Ryan and Taylor Swift.
It's a film about a woman because she's not defined by anything any man did to her.
Allegations surfaced about a meeting at Ryan's Manhattan penthouse where Justin felt pressured, leading a Sony representative to express regret for allowing such treatment. Interestingly, this rooftop scene is also where Blake allegedly claimed Justin made her uncomfortable. But leaked behind-the-scenes footage shows her laughing and enjoying herself, raising questions about her claims. The evidence against Blake continues to mount, and it's hard to ignore the implications.
So she's a serial fraudster. That's called fraud. When you pretend you want to do the one thing and you'll do the thing they're hiring you for, but all along you have secret plans to do something very, very different that's above your pay grade.
In a Reddit post, Blake's own words may have dealt a significant blow to her credibility. She stated, "This isn't a film about domestic violence," contradicting the narrative many believed the film was promoting.
She writes, on another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which no sound was recorded. Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle. Instead, he spoke to Ms. Lively out of character as himself. At one point, he leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear and down her neck.
For months, the marketing and interviews suggested a story about a woman escaping an abusive relationship, but Blake's comments indicate otherwise. She emphasized that her character isn't defined by a man's actions, which many interpret as a misunderstanding of domestic violence. This contradiction, captured in her own words, is fueling online backlash. Fans who once admired Blake are now questioning her motives and character.
Ryan, go to the bar. Ryan, go to the bar.
While some defend her, the prevailing sentiment is one of betrayal. People feel misled and manipulated, and they are voicing their discontent. Blake Lively has seemingly crafted her own downfall, not through external forces, but through her own words and actions. The backlash extends beyond a film. It touches on trust, authenticity, and the consequences of trying to control a narrative that is spiraling out of control.
It's just disgusting when you go after someone, you try to destroy their life, and actually the evidence shows something different. Blake Lively was no victim here. She was in control, she was in power, and she took over this film.
As Blake faces the fallout, the question remains, what will it take for Justin Baldoni to recover from this situation? The damage, both professionally and personally, may be long-lasting. Was this a calculated series of manipulations? Or is there something deeper at play?
And she finally bumped into someone who was weak enough and not famous enough to stop her.
Those questions may never be fully answered, but one thing is clear. The tide has turned, and Blake Lively's carefully constructed image is in tatters. As she confronts the consequences, perhaps Justin can begin to reclaim his narrative, career, and reputation. What do you think about Blake Lively after the Reddit post and the hug video? Is she being dishonest? Could this mark the start of her downfall? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.